After all, it only will take 50 people to drop a bomb somewhere. And therefore, the issue of how to address the root causes of the war is imperative. And that was the message that I gave to the President from my experience of 30 years internationally, that we have to address those issues. And we have to address the issue of humiliation of another community. We have to seriously look at the language issue, which was a cause of this war, etc., etc. We have had many wars in history. I just want to touch on a few. The American Civil War. It took the lives of over 800,000 people. But Abraham Lincoln was an extraordinary great president, and he was able to unite the United States. And the Constitution, which was introduced, has given equality to all in the United States, and now we witness this power of that Constitution when we have a black president in the United States. World War II was a devastating war. But what was the attitude of the people who had witnessed this devastation was one of reconciliation. Monet and Schumann and others, and I don't know, young people at that time said, never again will war haunt Europe. And they worked on it. They worked on it, and today you have a united Europe. And the essence of that united Europe is the respect for all minorities and nationalities and equality. The example, of course, is the Marshall Plan, where the Americans decided to forgive the conquered and reconcile with the peoples by a massive Marshall Plan which resurrected Japan and Germany. Another example is the Hindu-Muslim riots in India. Caused devastation after the division of Pakistan. But the founding fathers of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, Patel, Mahatma Gandhi, said never again will such a horror of the Hindu-Muslim riots revisit India. Created a constitution which respected all minorities, gave equal rights to language, and created the basis for India to be a superpower. Another example which I had the opportunity to be involved in was the transition of the apartheid regime in South Africa, where Nelson Mandela and President de Klerk, and everybody thought in South Africa that there will be a bloodbath. 400 years of apartheid. Lord Carrington had come and left in despair before the elections in South Africa, saying there will be a bloodbath. But sense prevailed, and through dialogue, de Klerk and Mandela and Buthelezi agreed to unite to build a new South Africa, and that remains today. And the lesson is the example of Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years of his life in prison. I had the opportunity to go to that prison. He asked me to go. And that man, when he came out, didn't have an ounce of bitterness or anger. He had transformed himself in prison. And he gave his hand out to the so-called enemy, embraced them, and together they went and received the Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo. So here are some of the great examples in history that we have to learn from. We have to, as a result of this war, make a deep reflection about the folly of violence and short-term opportunism which has governed this country's politics. Therefore now, I think the people are grateful. There are massive polls and votes for the president, and he's been given an opportunity now to rebuild the country. So I think that how are we going to do this? Some lessons from history is: do not humiliate others. Very soon we have to ensure that the 280,000 people are settled in their homes. They are citizens of this country. They have to have the freedom of movement. We have to look at the issues of language, Tamil, Sinhalese and English as a linked language, as well as move towards forms of reconciliation amongst all the communities who can rebuild this country together. I strongly believe that a great future is there for us in Sri Lanka. I think we can move very fast towards a knowledge city, a knowledge society. There's massive infrastructure development going on. The whole reconstruction of the Northeast is now happening. If we treat the West in a good way, we will get massive assistance from all countries to rebuild the country. And then the question that we have to ask is, how do we catch up on lost time? And I'm saying that we have to move rapidly towards a knowledge society. The essence of a knowledge society is that we have to ensure that all citizens of this country can speak and read English. Number two, they have to have access to information technology. In South Korea, 99.5% of the people of South Korea have access to IT and they have a computer at home. In Sri Lanka, still the access to the internet is only about 3%. Our entire rural population has been robbed of the opportunities they have had by, I think, the foolish language policies that we adopted, and thereby deprived both Tamil young people and Sinhalese access to English